Hello. Welcome everyone. This is Sagar Shah, and today I'm going to stream the finals of Carlsen versus Nakamura for a few minutes. Just enjoying, usually in the evening, I never really stream, I never really commentate. But today is like an ultimate final 3-3 between two of the most awesome blitz players that we have seen, blitz and rapid players, and it's going to be super fun to watch them play against each other. Let's first get right into action. What's happening in the game? You can see right now, this is the game that's going on. Nakamura is white and Carlsen is black, and the last move was king into g7. So trying to assess the position, if I have to here, I see that Carlsen has two pieces for a rook and a completely fine position. The first thought that does come to mind is that rook d7 check is a threat and then you can win the queen, but knight into d7 is coming up, and so that doesn't really work. So this seems like Carlsen is completely winning. And a warm welcome to everyone who's here in the chat. Yeah, of course, basically today's plan was to stream with Samay in general, but I think Samay is busy right now, and until he comes up or Niklesh comes up, I'll stream for some time and then I'll go to some of the stream where I'll comment it. I don't want to clash, but just to see this game right now, no one is streaming right now from India, so I thought, well, why not? Welcome to everyone. Yeah, Ilam Parthi is a surprise. Usually people imagine that Sagar Shah goes to sleep at 8 p.m. He doesn't, and morning 8 a.m. he's awake, so night he doesn't ever stream. But today, well, it's a different day. So after king g7, I think over here it's already seems like game over for Naka. He's thinking about his move, but what should he play? He's just lost. I can't even find a good move. By the way, queen e3 was played. Okay, queen e3, and now again there is a small threat of giving rook d8 over here. Rook d8 is the plan, and look at the time. Both players are down to their last 2 minutes, so this is going to be exciting. Of course, and tomorrow Ayushi says I'm going to wait on Hindi chess base and spam call Sagar. Well, I'll go. I'm planning to go there after this. By the way, king h1 was a nice move. You couldn't take the knight because the queen on e3 was hanging. So Carlsen has to be slightly careful here. He has two pieces for a rook and an extra pawn, so he is winning. By the way, guys, it's best of 4 right now. So it'll be like if Nakamura loses this, the game, it'll still go on. By the way, what happens if I go e5 in this position? How is the move e5 over here? I'm just wondering. E5 was not played. He played queen d2, bishop e6, and now e5. But what if I just take the pawn? Yeah, this looks pretty bad. I guess all of you are very excited for tomorrow, the Olympiad. So we have a plan in place. Tomorrow we are going to stream on Samay's channel. And then on day number 2, it will be on Adiban's channel. And day number 3, it will be on chessbaseindia. Along with it, there will be some roundup shows. There will be live comment. There will be game analysis. There will be a lot of stuff. It will be very exciting. So yeah, Yash Jaiswar, I'll respond to you. I'm sorry I forgot to respond to your mail, but I'll do that. So when you reach such a position, over here when you are completely winning and when Carlsen is winning, all you have to do is be careful that your opponent does not trick you in some way. Like, you don't move your bishop on e6 because then rook e4 may come. So all of these things you have to take care. But Carlsen is like the ultimate player. He is the world champion, so he's going to take care of all these things. Let's just move the queen. Oh, he plays c5. Ah, nice move, nice move. Because if the queen takes the pawn on b5, the rook is hanging. But what if rook e5, cb4, rook into b5? You know, this is interesting. For example, I was just wondering, if you take here, and then take here. Ah, but then he'll just push b3 and this is all safe. The bishop protects the pawn. The knight will then jump in. Sooner or later, the pawn will be pushed and overall it will be winning completely. So this is not going to work out. So c5, and now Nakamura is thinking for his move. Well, in general, black is completely winning. There's no need to see the bar here. Black is just, it should be an advantage of like 6, 7, 8. I don't know. It's just completely winning. These two pawns here are going to bring home the full point. These two pawns. Black is Carlsen. White is Nakamura. By the way, the picture here is a picture taken by Amruta Mokal at the World Blitz Championship. And then she removed all the background and all. So, looks nice. Knight d7, defending everything. Guys, here it's mentioned who's black and white. Nakamura is white and Carlsen is black. Queen e1. And now you can just push the pawn, maybe b3. I don't see what is the threat. Yeah, b3 is pushed. Just one-way stream. So Carlsen will win this completely and easily. And then we'll go to game number 2, where he will have the white pieces, Nakamura will have black. So in the chat, guys, tomorrow we have matches, 3 matches, yeah, tomorrow for India. One is against, first one is I think against Zimbabwe, right? Who else? Then the second one, I just forgot the schedule. Do you guys remember? Whom are we playing tomorrow? Let's check. So Zimbabwe is number 1. Whom are we playing the second team? Is it? I don't think any. Tomorrow we are playing one strong team, if I'm not mistaken. And now queen g5, next move, he's going to push his pawn to b2 or c4, you know, keeping everything controlled. One thing you have to learn from Carlsen is how he keeps things under control. Oh, he's already won the game. So it's 0-1, guys. Game is over. The score is 0-1. I'm going to wait for when the match is about to begin. Okay, so tomorrow is Uzbekistan, Vietnam. No, not Vietnam tomorrow. Uzbekistan, Zimbabwe, and one more. Guys, please write 3 names in one comment. Yeah, Nakamura resigned, so it's 0-1 in his favor. He has 1 point. Shall we go over this game and try to see how it happened? Could be interesting. Let's have a look at it and try to learn from Naka and Carlsen. Okay. No one knows. Atanu Sarkar says Zimbabwe, Vietnam, and Uzbekistan. Wow. So Zimbabwe, I think, should be an easy win for us. Vietnam is going to be tough, especially on board number one. Who will play on board number one is also interesting. Anand or Vidit or Hari Krishna, and they will face Le Quang Liem. And then Uzbekistan is also a decent team. It'll be fun to see tomorrow. 1:30. That will be on Samai stream tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. And we'll be streaming. Then day after tomorrow will be on Adiban stream, and then last day will be on Chessbase India. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at this game. E4, E5, Knight F3. Nakamura is white. Shall we take black on our side because Carlsen won? I always like to learn from Carlsen's games. Bishop B5, Knight F6. Oh, he wanted to play the Berlin. D3. So basically, if you take here, if you castle in this position, Knight E4, and then D4, Knight D6, Bishop C6. This is the Berlin endgame. Yeah, this you should know. It's a very famous line that was played by Kramnik to beat Kasparov in 2000. So it has been known as the Berlin. And when you play D3, it's the anti-Berlin. So you're not allowing the Berlin. So you play D3, Bishop C5. And many times I feel that these positions are drawish. You remember how Nakamura had actually won one of the games against Carlsen by playing Knight C4, then Queen E2, then he had played H4. I had covered this in one of my morning streams. And so here Carlsen castled. Still Knight into E5 is not possible because of, let's see in the chat, if you are in the chat, if you can tell me what is the move. Guys, if you are asking me call Samay, please, then I think you should ask Samay to actually come and call me, because I'm waiting for Samay since a long time. We had a stream today and I think he is somewhere. I don't know where he is, what has happened. So I would love to be with him. So black to move. Yeah, Queen D4, absolutely. Queen D4 is the correct move. You attack the knight and the pawn on F2. So this is completely winning for black. So he plays H3. Everything looks fine. Now this was slight surprise because previously Nakamura had played Queen E2. He plays H3. Now knight went to D7 defending E5. Knight went to C4 again attacking E5. So simple chess. Both the knights attacking here. Carlsen plays the move A5. Again tricky, yeah. So Carlsen says if you take, I will take. If you take, I will play Queen D4. I'll attack your knight and F2 and I'll win. So Nakamura is like, okay, you want to take, I'll play Bishop E3. And Magnus plays F6. Now defending everything and Nakamura castles. And here comes the move B5. And now you see the point of this move A5. Because the knight can no longer jump to that square. You know. It's Magnus Carlsen Chess Tour, not Magnus Carlsen Invitational. Okay, got it. I'm going to change it. Guys, I just made a plan to stream today without much preparation, so pardon me for all the mistakes in the name or something. It was just a very quick decision. B5, Knight D2. By the way, guys, the moment the second game begins, please let me know. Has the game begun already? I don't think so, yeah. The game has not begun, right? Once it begins, please let me know, so I'll stop this. So he took on e3, fe, and now he played the move a4. And his idea is that at some point he wants to play maybe a3, maybe weaken these dark squares in the position. So he went knight h4, and now Magnus played the move c5. Isn't black's pawn structure worse, says Silent Nemesis? Depends, Silent Nemesis. I think black structure is very nice. You see this here, and these pawns are all advancing. So yes, yeah, this is doubled pawns for sure. But I have a feeling that it's not such a big problem. It's not such a big problem for Magnus. So knight f5, and this is where things start getting very tricky, because he wants to go queen g4 and threaten a mate. Now in such a position, when he is threatening to do that, you may have to push your pawn forward. When you push it, then the knight can jump and there could be some weaknesses created in the position. So we move ahead. Magnus plays knight to b6, and now queen e2, because Nakamura realizes that after queen g4, g6, it's not really going to be a mate, and this pin might start creating a lot of issues. So he went queen e2, now came bishop e6, knight to f3, queen d7, knight h4. So Nakamura is trying to attack on the king side, but Carlsen is like, I'll play in the center. He gets his rook to d8. Rook f d1, and now king h8. And white played the move d4. Okay, let's try to think of all the captures here in this position very patiently. Try to understand. So if I take here, he takes back, then I take, then he takes with the knight, and then he attacks my bishop and also my pawn, because the queen is attacking this way. But in all of this, don't you think this pawn becomes weak on c4? Also, don't you think bishop c4 can come and attack this queen with a tempo? So taking all of these into consideration, you take, rook takes. Because as we discussed, if he would have taken with the knight, I think his idea was bishop c4. But maybe this was better decision, because after this, I have a feeling that white has counterplay. White has a lot of play in the position. He's threatening knight g6 check and a lot of problems. But he took with the rook. And Magnus just moved his queen away and he said, look, my double pawns are gone. Now I have all the pawns which are single. Also, this pawn is isolated. I have a knight which can jump here and come and sit here. My bishop can anyway take the knight. So all in all, it seems like black is doing very well. Rook a d1. And here he played queen c5. Queen went to f2. I think in this position, white has one very important thing to take care of, which is this pawn on a2. So this is pinned, but do you see a way in which white can get a decent position here? White to move. What do you play? White to move. What should white play in this position? There's a good move here. Yeah, Chess Express Tamil, very good. B4 is the move. And it's not an easy move to make, even for a player of Nakamura's caliber, because you think en passant, and now you believe that this rook is right and it is attacked once and defended twice. So you want to get rid of one of its defenders with the move g6. But what is the problem here? Can anyone tell me what is the problem? White to play and win. Because if the knight moves away, then you will win the rook here. But white has a very strong move. Yeah, guys, there was a small lag, so please bear with me. What is the problem here that white has, that black has? After g6, he's planning to win a piece. Anyone? Yeah, very good. Arka Datta Chaudhary, very nice move. Excellent. The move is b4. You push the queen away, and now there is no longer a pin. And the next move, rook into d8, you are going to lose the rook. The queen cannot defend this rook as well because e7 is controlled by the knight. So all of these problems led to b4 being the best move here. But okay, he played queen f2, took, knight takes, and now Carlsen is greedy, a greedy man. He just picks up this pawn. He's like, I have won a pawn. So Nakamura says, I'm going to trap your bishop over there. So Carlsen says, I don't care. How are you going to pick up that bishop? I'm going to pin your knight here. So it's a back and forth game, yeah. Knight went to f5, defending his own comrade. And now, try to think here. Black to play. Takes, and now think. How should black play in this position? Black to move. Aha, next game started. Okay, guys, next game started. Let's have a look at this game very quickly. Carlsen took here on b3. Now you can't take because rook into d1 is coming. So he played knight into g7, which was not a good move. And here after rook takes d4, fantastic move. Rook takes d4, king into g7. He had not only two pieces for a rook, but also an extra pawn. And this is just winning for black. Because the main trick here, check, trying to win the queen doesn't work because of knight into d7 and you defend the queen. So all of this led to the game ending in a win for Magnus Carlsen. Okay, so let's go to the next game. It started as you all mentioned. Let me figure out. The new game has started, yeah. Let me just check. Ah, few moves have already been played. Nice. Let me see if the game is already up here in the play chess. Okay, I'm going to get the game in very soon. But let me just meanwhile switch to chess base to show you the moves until the game is live on play chess so that you guys don't miss it. Okay, so in this game Carlsen is white now and Nakamura is black, and the game began as a Sicilian. E4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, g6. Okay, so Naka is black, Carlsen is white, and Carlsen now plays this, known as the Sicilian Rosolimo. You put your bishop on b5 and you want to take on c6. He played bishop g7, g6, c3. Sorry, first castles, now bishop g7, c3, knight to f6, rook e1, defending the pawn, you castle, and he played the move d4. So white has a very nice pawn structure, takes, and now a question to all of you. What should black play in this position? Black to move. Black to move. What should black play in this position? Because you see white has these powerful pawns here. By the way, I'm going to write here white is Carlsen, black is Nakamura, and this is game 2 today. Game 1 went to Carlsen already. All those who said e6 and d6, guys, this is too passive. Too passive. You need to play actively. Strike in the center when you get a chance. Very good. All those who said d5, excellent. You strike in the center with the move d5. And now white went e5. So where do you move the knight? That is the next question. Do you move it passively backwards? Do you come up ahead? Black to move. Very good, guys. All those who said d5, white goes e5. Now what do you do next? See, if you're going to play a move like d6 here, it's passive and it's not going to help you, even if you play a move like e6. But when you strike back in the center, it's like active play. If you take here, I'm very happy to take this back with the knight. So e5. Now what do you do? Very good. All those who said knight e4, fantastic, guys. Always, if the active move is good, then you make it. Don't play passively. So knight e4. Now Magnus plays bishop to e3. And I think this is the position on the board. And Nakamura went bishop d7. So now it's your chance to think like the world champion, what is the move that you will play here? White to move in this position. What would you play here? I have a feeling that white has two options. First of all, he can go knight d2 and challenge the knight here. The second option is to play knight c3. The reason why knight c3 is a little bit doubtful for me is because he takes, pawn takes, and you see that this pawn on c3 will be backward and isolated, sort of backward pawn. And then black could go rook c8 and put pressure down the c file with this weakness. So knight c3 is definitely not what I want to do. I mean, I don't like it. I don't know if Magnus is going to play that, but I have a feeling that knight c3 takes, this doesn't look good for the black, for the white player, like rook c8, and this pawn is a weakness. That's what I believe. Maybe Magnus will prove me wrong. And so, if you don't play knight c3, where do you put your knight? I guess you play knight d2, and next move you want to take, pawn takes, and then bring the knight back and attack on e4. Akshay Natu says, already purchased snacks for tomorrow afternoon. So excited. Zimbabwe, Uzbekistan should be easier battles. Or is there a chance of upset? Hope to see the entire gang together. You are our star sports. Well, Akshay, obviously in sports anything can happen. So we are definitely, there is a possibility of upset at any point. By the way, just before I come to the super chat, if here I play knight d2, don't you think that knight into e5 he could win a pawn? Because if I take back, b5 is hanging, and if you take here knight d7, oh, there's a tactic in the air, guys. There's this tactic in the air. So knight c3 anyway is a blunder, because after take knight e5, white wins a pawn. Sorry, black wins a pawn. You see? If you take here, I take back with the knight. If you take here, I take bishop b5. So Carlsen has to address this move. Maybe he has to get his bishop back to d3 or f1. Yeah, so I have a feeling that Zimbabwe and Uzbekistan would be easier, of course, than Vietnam. And India should win all the 3 games tomorrow. But yeah, it'll be fun. And we'll be doing it on Samai's channel, as I've mentioned before. So it'll be good fun to see you guys. 1:30, 2:30 and 3:30. We are also working with the organizers to get the live feed of the players' faces. So even that you will be able to see. That will be fantastic, yeah. So let me check if there is an update to the game. Look at what Magnus played. Magnus played the move bishop a4. That is interesting move. So now you see he saw the tactic here, and now his bishop is defended by the queen. Brilliant. Now black to move. What is the move that comes to your mind as black? The first move that comes to my mind here is rook c8. Just putting your rook on an open file. Looks good, right? So bishop a4 Let's wait for what Magnus played, and let's try to get the times also. Here I have another board here. Let me see if I can get the game rolling. Yeah, this is there. Let's see. Let me get the clock. View clock should be good now. Yeah, fantastic. Wow, everything is set. Okay, so I want to flip the board because I was seeing it as white. He played knight to a5. That's what Hikaru played. He played knight to a5. And Magnus took on d7, queen into d7. So Carlsen has less time, and I also feel his position is not so great because black has kind of nicely exchanged the pieces. He's very positively placed, nicely sitting here in this position. And white is thinking, how should I develop my final piece here? How should I develop this guy? You see, Carlsen is also finding it difficult to make his next move here. It's not so easy. What should he do? Where should he develop his knight? Guys, think about it. What should white play here? Think. I have a feeling that white will play his knight to d2. That's what I believe. Knight c3 is out of question because he will take, and also the knight on a5 is brilliantly placed to come to c4. Knight a3. But isn't the knight doing nothing? It's doing nothing there, Anirudh. Yeah, f6 is also a plan for black at some point, but he would want to avoid it because f6 weakens the position a bit, but at some point you have to play in order to activate your bishop. Knight fd2, maybe. Who is better in this position? I have a feeling that it's equal. Black has equalized without any difficulty in this position. That's what I believe. Yeah, so let's imagine, okay, I want to play some few moves and try to analyze this position. Carlsen actually played a few moves. He played knight f d2, takes on d2, knight takes d2, and Nakamura here didn't really wait for bringing his rook to c8, which would have been, I think, very natural. And he directly played knight to c4. Magnus took dc4. How do we assess such a position? So let's try to think. My thinking is that in this position, after Naka played his last move, queen d5, these pawns are on the same color as your bishop. So already you have a not so great bishop on e3. Secondly, black has 3 pawns against white's 2 pawns. So if he can play carefully, like b6, a6, b5. See, I don't want to play just a6 here in this position. Because if I play a6, then white can go a5 and cripple my pawns. I can't play b5, there will be en passant. So that is the reason why what I would do is I would play b6, then a6, and then play b5. And try to then later play b4 and c3. So I already get a feeling that in this position, it's not so simple for Magnus. But Magnus is a very shrewd player. He is thinking that maybe he can attack this pawn on c4 before black can defend it with b5. How can he do that? I was wondering if queen f3, spoiling the structure but accepting an exchange, makes any sense, because then you go rook c1, try to double down the c file and try to attack this pawn. That could be an idea. Too many colors, guys, too many colors. I'm going to remove some of them. But at least black cannot be worse in this position. It's an equal position. Nakamura has got a great position out of the opening, I would say. Oh, he played queen f3 in the game. Let's see. Game has gone ahead. He played queen f3. Naka took gf. And yes, these pawns are not so good on f file. But more important is not to let black, blockade in the center. So e6, rook d1, rook fc1, rook fc8. And now Magnus is thinking here what to play. What should you play here? What should you play in this position? White to move. How would Magnus continue? See, the live games is a chance to think like a world champion. You can think and you can guess the moves. Mayank Parab, thank you. Of course I remember you. Yeah, rook c3, that's a good move. The idea now here is to put the rook on c1 and put pressure down the c4 pawn. That is the plan. And so it's already a difficult position, because I already told you, like, if you go a6 and your plan is that rook c1 will be met with b5, which makes complete sense, then the problem is that maybe a6 can be met with a5, and it just kind of cripples this pawns. So I don't think Naka will play a6 because of a5. So let's see what Naka does. I think he will go rook c6 here. So something like rook c6, rook c1, and then rook here. That is what may happen. Let's see what happened in the game. He played rook c6, b3. I have a feeling that Magnus wants to quickly draw the game here. Not take too much tension. Just draw the game. And so here, let's say after takes, he'll just take rook into b3. And even if black will lose a pawn here, this structure should still be a draw, 5 versus 4. So I don't see how it's going to be any trouble for. I think Magnus will hold this game. Let's see. The pressure on Hikaru is growing, yeah. Nitin Saxena, there will be no draw today, because after their rapid section there will be 2 blitz games, and if they also end in a draw, there will be an Armageddon. So there will be no draw for sure. We'll have a winner today. So b3, and Naka is thinking here whether should he play rook to c8, rook a c8, or should he take on b3. Magnus already has a lead of 1 point. So this is already going to be uh, a draw, in my opinion. So it will be one and half. Yeah, exactly, Lamparthi. I also agree. Magnus is okay with a draw in this game. It's not pressing too hard. Nakamura is thinking, how can I do something here? Is there any way in which I can put pressure on my opponent? I believe it's not so possible. Yeah, this will be a draw. Let's check if there are any moves in this position. No, Naka is still thinking. Nupur Sancheti says, entire lockdown you are streaming daily, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day. I was thinking 19th May we started improving chess in the morning. Today is 20th August. So that is 91 days. And we have 75 episodes. And we have 9 days of Dr. Chess. So that is already 84 days at 8 a.m. out of 91. Not bad, not bad. 7 days I couldn't stream. It's not great. I would have liked a better record, but it's not something I would complain. Yeah, Magnus has a severe backache, right? He was in the swimming pool, he got injured. That's what I read. Was a move played here in this game? Yeah, so basically we have had some moves. First of all, rook a c8, b into c4, rook into c4 and rook b3. I think Hikaru will play rook 8 c7. That seems logical here. Or b6 could also be played. I think b6, maybe white will go a5, and Magnus doesn't want that. Sorry, Hikaru may not want that. So if you see here in this position, if you play b6, then white can go a5. And the problem is that after this, if you allow me to take, I'll take this pawn. This will be weak. Or if you take here, then after rook a5, this will be weak because I'll gang up. By the way, when one pawn attacks two pawns, it's called something. I have already explained in many of my lectures. Can anyone tell me what is it called? When your one pawn attacks two pawns, what is it called? So in the game, he went rook c7, rook b1, b6, and now Magnus sacked a pawn, takes rook a3. So best case scenario for Carlsen would be to win this pawn on a5, then to double on the a file and attack a7. Very good, Divya Aditya Joshi. It's called mine. Oh my god, so many people. No minority. Harish M, Deepak Jain, Harshit Pandey, Alvin Lee, Superb Guy, Namit Negi, Sagar Nuwal, Abhishek Sharma, Ojas Gokhale, Pawn Subhash, Indrajit Forever, Zach Kumar. Wow, so many people know about the minority attack. Tremendous, guys. What a wonderful audience we have. Full knowledge of chess, yeah. Very good to know. Okay, rook into a5 happened in the game. Meanwhile, Nakamura tried to break with f6, and I think he has been successful to some extent. If Carlsen can convert this endgame, I am going to go crazy. I mean, I know his skills, I know that he's a fantastic endgame player, but it might be a bit too much to expect that he will win this. Okay, he goes g5 here. What is the point of g5? Well, g5 simply stops the move f4 in this position, because imagine that it was white to move in such a position. Okay, if it was white to move here, then f4 would have sort of bolstered the structure for white. And so Nakamura says, I'm not so keen to take on e5 right now. I'm going to go g5. I'm going to stop you from playing f4, because then your pawn, I'll take here and more pawns get exchanged. So we'll see what Magnus comes up with. So after this g5, Magnus just improved his king and Nakamura played h6, and now comes h4. I like this move, guys. Carlsen is pressing ever so slowly. Carlsen says, look Naka, I'm giving you a pawn, okay? Take this pawn if you like, but then what I will do is I will play f4 and I will keep your bishop shut in here, and later on I will bring my king and I will gobble up this pawn, and then this pawn is weak, I will attack you. So Nakamura is like, okay, I don't want to take on h4. I'm going to play rook d7. I'm going to play aram se. So now Magnus is thinking, oh, look, he played rook a6 and he wants to attack the e6 pawn now. Rook to a6, he's attacking e6. And if in this position, if e6 is hanging, e5 is also hanging. So after fe, de, bishop e5 will be met with rook into e6, attacking the bishop and the pawn. And I have a feeling that here maybe white has some chances, because not too many though. Like for example, let's say I go bishop g7. What happens next? You take. Okay guys, we are back. So here now, let's focus on the game. h6, h4, and then rook d7, he went rook a6, he went rook e8, and now rook b5. So very small pressure. Nakamura plays king f7. I like how Nakamura is keeping his cool in this position. Both players have close to 5 minutes. Carlsen has 4 minutes on his clock. Nakamura has 5 minutes 37 seconds. What should white do to try and break through here? For example, let's imagine that if he takes on f6, I take back, and then I'm putting pressure here. So white doesn't want to take on f6. Nor does white want to take on g5, because that just exchanges pawns. He would love that black takes on h4 in such a position. So the moment black takes on h4, white can go f4 and bolster his structure. Yeah, this is just a draw, it seems. There's some pressure that Magnus has been putting, and when Magnus puts pressure on his opponents, they kind of crumble often. They often crumble down. Okay, let's see how the game goes. Ooh, Carlsen goes h5. Carlsen is like, I want to fix your pawns. Nakamura is just staying steady. He is not making any commitments as such. He plays rook e7. Maybe here it could have been a good idea to go f5. Goes king g3. Why can't black play f5 here? I'm just thinking. For example, if you play f5, Then the center pressure is gone here, and you can go f4, and I already like white's position because bishop is closed, and if you take here, I will take back with the king. This is winning position for white, almost winning, because this is a weakness, this is a weakness, this is a weakness. I'll attack on it. My pieces are very active, so there is some threat. There's some threat. You know, the thing with playing Magnus is that even when the position is just equal, he will keep on grinding and grinding and make your life miserable. I mean, he's such an amazing player. But you see, king g3 here, instead of playing rook e7, if Nakamura had played f5 here, then Magnus has no time to play f4, because then you just take and d4 is hanging, right? So that is the reason why, if now king g3, there is no time because of f4 check. So that therefore rook e7 is not an accurate move. He should have gone f5, then f4 here. Oh, okay. So some moves have been played. He took on e5, de, rook d5, okay, and then he took on d5, ed5, king g4, okay. He could have gone f4, but okay, king g4, rook into e5, and now Carlsen is thinking. Rook into a7, rook e7. I don't believe that in this bishop endgame there is any chance. Any chance. He goes king f5, king f7, f4. And yeah, players will agree to a draw very soon. That should be it. So the score will be 1.5 in Magnus Carlsen's favor. Ilam Parthi says Magnus crushed me in Play Magnus app in 20 years. Oh, 20 years is very strong, Ilam. Yeah, this is just equal here, and I think the game will end in a draw soon. So nothing much. Well, Naka is thinking still. I don't know why. Okay. Takes on f4, bishop f4. Yeah, by the way, tomorrow is Olympiad. Yeah, tomorrow is Olympiad. Tomorrow we'll be playing Zimbabwe, Vietnam, and Uzbekistan. And we'll be streaming on Samai's channel tomorrow, Adiban's channel on 22nd, Chess Base India on 23rd. We'll have live analysis, roundup show. Surya Ganguly will also join in to do something. A lot of grandmasters, a lot of comedians, everything will be there. It'll be great fun. It'll be great fun. Guys, please like the video so that it reaches more people, and maybe at the end of this game, which should end in a draw very soon, I was planning to go to Chess Base India Hindi for some time and to stream with Niklesh, so that we can... Who is streaming with Niklesh, by the way? Oh, he gave up the pawn on d3. Well, that's fine. I don't think it's an issue. Um, yeah, king comes in, and although, I mean, you can't technically win the h5 pawn, this doesn't seem. You can't make progress here. So, yeah, just move. It might seem that the engines may think this is winning for white, but I believe it's a draw. I mean, Nakamura didn't have to give up that pawn, but he's a pawn up. Is there any way in which Carlsen can win this? I don't think so. He just keep moving his king. King f5 or bishop g7, bishop e5, bishop g7, bishop f8. Yeah, it's a draw. It's a draw. Aha, Atul is there. Ah, Niklesh is alone. Okay, okay. Okay, I'll then after this game go to Niklesh and we'll do it together. કુનાલ ઝવેરી સાગર ભાઈ કેમ છો પોતાનું થોડું ક્રેડિટ આપો 84 આઉટ ઓફ 91 એકદમ જોરદાર ડેડિકેશન છે અને તમારી કોમેન્ટ્રી માટે વેટ કરી રહ્યા છે ઓલિમ્પિયાડમાં કુનાલ થેન્ક યુ સો મચ હું પણ વેટ કરું છું કાલથી ઓલિમ્પિયાડ ચાલુ થશે અને બહુ મજા આવશે અને 84 આઉટ ઓફ 91 at 8 a.m. Yeah, not bad. Thank you. By the way, black, what move should black play in this position? Can you think? Because look, bishop g7 is a blunder. It loses. Oh, it's not a blunder. What is this? Bishop g7, bishop d4 check. King f4, bishop into g7, king into f3, bishop into h6, king g4. Wow. This is Naka, yeah? He is pure tactics. Look at this. Bishop d4, king f4, takes, king takes, pawn, king g4, and just pick up this pawn and you're better. So, bishop g7, he went king c5. You know, sometimes the engines get very excited and show you, oh, it's winning, but it usually is not. Endgames, sometimes a small plus is not easy to convert. You know, why does an engine show that it is better here? Is because it sees an extra pawn. But many times the bishop can be sacrificed for the pawn, and even if white remains with only a bishop, it's a draw. So that is something which the engines do not understand so easily. And that is why their evaluations go wrong. A strong engine would immediately tell this is a draw, but a weak engine will tell maybe white is winning. So you need to be always careful in the end games. You can't just trust the engines. So now he's shifting his bishop to a3. Yeah, now bishop e3. Does that work? By the way, king e4, the threat is bishop e3. If you exchange the bishops, that could be a problem. But yeah, look at Carlsen. You know, he's a monster. He keeps on playing. He tries to tire you out. King f5 now, maybe, but then bishop f8. You just wait. Many people say that they can understand Gujarati now, which is very cool. Gujarati is one of the simplest languages, I believe. It's so simple to understand, not so easy to speak. Amruta still struggles to talk in Gujarati. Carlsen is not grinding here, I would say. It's just equal. King f7 back. I mean, yeah, nothing much to do now. The king actually guards all the squares. The bishop is sitting steady. I think everything looks fine. Okay, he plays bishop d4, and you mustn't take the bishop because pawn endgames will be losing. Just move the bishop away, like bishop a3 maybe. Because if you go bishop c1, there's bishop e3. So, yeah, very, very simple. King e5. Yeah, bg7. Again, though, the black has only moves, but it's easy to play those only moves. And he must avoid the bishop exchange. That's the key part. Abdul Kalam, can Carlsen give up the bishop for h6 pawn and try? Not really. I mean, you give bishop will stop the h pawn, the king will stop the f pawn. I don't see how you will make progress. Guys, everyone's asking what is the schedule of tomorrow's Olympiad? Well, I have mentioned it, but I'll do it again in a bit. Now he plays bishop f4, and finally a draw is agreed. So the last, they played until stalemate, which is very cute. So here he went bishop g5, Carlsen played bishop e5, and he took bg7 takes, and the h pawn. If you can get your king on one of these squares when the opponent has h pawn, then it's a draw. So king g5, king h7, h6, king h8, king g6, king g8, h7, and it is stalemate. So a good draw for Carlsen here. I mean, he should be happy with the opening position that he got, and he's now leading the match. Let's have a look at the game for a few minutes before the next one begins. Shall we do that? Let's try to analyze. So it's 1.5. Yeah. So let's open chessbase here. And put in the game. Here we had the game. So knight a5 was played. Bishop d7. Queen d7. Knight d2. He took. Knight c4, and then knight takes c4, dc4, and I believe that here it's just a4 is a nice move, because if black to move, black would play, like, imagine you waste time and you play a move like queen d2, then black is very happy. He will go b5. Next move he will play a5. Then he will get his rook here. Then he will push b4. Then he wants to go c3. It's a majority there. And so this move a4 is like a very nice prophylaxis. You know what is prophylaxis? It means that opponent has an idea and you stop it. So opponent wants to play b5, you play a4 and you stop it. That's the point of prophylaxis. So queen d5, queen f3, takes, e6. I don't know if this had to be played, but rook fc1, rook fc8, rook c3, rook c6, b3. And yeah, once this was taken, I think the real game began when Magnus played a5 and he started pressing in this position. He took here and he's like, I want to play next move f4. And then I'll be better. So Carlsen Nakamura played g5, stopping it, king g2, and now h4. And he wants him to take here so that he can bolster his structure with these pawns. But in the end, yeah, nothing much happened as such. Everything was under control, pieces got exchanged. The game wasn't very interesting as such. But you know how the top players prepare? I want to show you how these guys prepare. So what they do is, if we go to the opening, let's see here. Let's have a look at reference on chessbase. So we get to see how many games were played, and I'm very curious as to Carlsen with the white pieces, why he did not get an advantage. So after c3, I see that 5374 games go knight f6. So it's been played many times. Then rook e1, then castles, then d4. This is again played in 1700 games. Takes. Then d5, again played in 1300 games. e5, knight e4. And now you see the main move here is knight c3. The second main move after that, after knight e4, is bishop into c6, knight d2. So the move bishop e3, I think, is an inaccurate move by Magnus. Although if you look at it, he maybe thought hardly for any time for this move, bishop e3. And then after bishop d7, bishop a4, knight a5, takes, knight d2, takes, and I believe that this is already the drawish position. So bishop e3 wasn't the best move. Okay guys, so how about we all shift to Chessbase India Hindi. Let's see what Niklesh is doing. Let me just check and then we will go there. And please guys, all those who haven't subscribed to Chessbase India Hindi, which is here, Niklesh is here. Please subscribe to Chessbase India Hindi, Hindi Chessbase India, and I'm going over there to commentate. And I think even Vaibhav may join in there very soon. And this is please subscribe here and you can join in. That would be fun. I think also we'll have some people joining in. Okay, so until then guys, goodbye and see you on Chessbase India Hindi. Take care. Bye bye.